Hey guys, and welcome to the Invar Technologies Podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the manufacturing industry. Excited to have our guest, Pasquale Cirullo, today, and we'll be diving into his story. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and what he does within the organization, and telling us a little bit about the company as well. And some engagement insights in the manufacturing industry. So I'll go ahead and kick it off with you, Pasquale. If you would please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of a quick snippet of your story and possibly a little bit about your background before, joining the industry.
Sure. Background is okay. Pasquale Cirullo. I am the Vice President of IT for Richards Manufacturing. I am responsible for everything at Richards Manufacturing that deals with technology. My primarily my focus right now is on cybersecurity and on infrastructure. Prior to joining Richards Manufacturing, I've been in IT for many years in a lot of different industries. I started my career in research, moved to education, publishing, manufacturing, advertising, real estate development, and then back to manufacturing.
My
I think that covers
goodness.
all.
Yeah, so if you've thought of it, you've done it. So
Yeah, pretty much. And I've had responsibility for all aspects of IT at some point in my career or another for different industries. So I've been involved in application development, support, infrastructure, project management, and when it comes down to it, it's all the same issues and all the same in all the different industries.
absolutely, 100% agree with you. And ultimately, we really appreciate you sharing a little bit about the background. And so thank you so much for that. If you want to, if we can go into the next question, ultimately, what we would want to know is how did you get into this, manufacturing world? And I know you mentioned a little bit now into the fact that you transitioned into it, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about your role in the organization, and then what really makes you passionate about this role.
Well, what I've always been when my first I first got into IT. Well, when I graduated college, I was actually had a degree in engineering and was working in a research lab where I was the research engineer in the lab. The one aspect of that job that I enjoyed the most was actually getting the implementing computers in all the systems and into the lab. At the time, the lab was primarily a very manual process. So I just, and we just started putting in computers in there to make our processes more efficient. And then when the lab closed, took a look at, what is it that I really enjoyed doing? And what I enjoyed the most was using computers and using the technology just to make people and processes more efficient and quicker. And that's how I first got into IT. And that from there, it just went to, moving into another industry is how, with that same mindset, how do we use technology to make the processes more efficient and give people the time to do the things that they really add much more value than the rote, the very simple steps that everyone was always doing. Uh, and that's exactly what I followed through from company to company, industry to industry.
Fantastic. No, well,
So,
yes. Did you want to add?
no, I was just going to say, and to now with Richard's Manufacturing, it really is the same thing. It's how do we just improve the systems, improve the infrastructure to make the company more efficient at what it does and quicker at what it does, so that they can grow a lot, so that they can grow.
100%. And I think growth is important for any organization. And I mean, we've obviously had a conversation before prior to, this podcast. And, I could really tell that you're super passionate about, IT and the development of it as well. And the fact that it's continuously growing so quickly. I mean, before our eyes, things are possible where a couple of years ago, my grandparents probably would have been like, there's no ways that there's going to be a machine visioned idea of me, of us as human beings. And I mean, it's crazy, but
Completely agree. I mean, and that's one of the things I like about technology and IT is that it doesn't stand
it
still.
really doesn't.
And things that we were using 5, 10 years ago, we just don't use anymore because we've got much better, much better technology that can do the same kinds of things a lot quicker.
Yes, absolutely agree with you. But I still do believe in an older generation of we still need the human element. But the tools are there, and that's the most important thing. And I love the fact that you emphasize on the fact that it's an evolving world, and it's also exciting for you, surely, because you get to learn new things every day. It's like a new job every time you're going to work.
It's interesting because every problem that you run into, it's like this one that we ran into before, but it is new, and it's new technology can be brought to bear. And then, like you said, it's really that mindset of the technology is just a tool to help people do their job better and quicker. Uh,
Absolutely.
and
So I think,
yeah,
yeah, so I think that will lead me to my next question for you. Obviously based on the trends, right? So, and based on your expertise, and there's no right or wrong answer there. This is your opinion ultimately. And what are some of the current trends in the market that you are aware of? And like kind of where the wind is blowing, and what are you noticing?
well, I mean, for us, I mean, the way what I see at our company, the biggest things are cybersecurity and just shoring that up, keeping us protected. Uh, there is that constant threat that's out there, and you just have to guard against it. And with the new technologies that are being developed, like AI and things of that sort, it's an increasing threat when it comes to security because it just makes it easier for people to try to infiltrate in. Uh, AI is the other big thing, and I think an AI is just it can be used in a lot of different, you can be thought of in a lot of different ways because, yeah, it's being used by threat actors to try to get into and cause havoc wherever. But we're starting to implement, along with our service providers that we use, we're starting to implement AI in terms of protecting us against the threat actors. So we're using AI to help us figure out where the threats are coming from. And it's also using AI in terms of helping our businesses run quicker and be more efficient. Whether it's just on from a human point of helping with certain process like AP, AR, and things of that sort, the very simple ones, or using it and one of the things that we're starting to explore is how do we use it in the product in the product area and in the the actual production area, and can we use it to help us make production more efficient, help us create higher quality products so that we don't have as much waste as uh, as happens in some cases, and and just make it again. It's making us more efficient and making us better at what we do.
I fully agree with.
I'd say those are probably yeah, those are the top two areas that I think are the top ones that we're looking at.
Good, wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing that up about making things more effective in terms of sustainability, and because that's a huge factor in today's world and today's economy is that fact that we need to be waste conscious because there's so much waste that takes place every single day. So thank you for that. So on that topic and on engaging with the company, we've heard a little bit about you, and I'm sure we're going to learn some more through this podcast. But dig deep and transition a little bit into the organization. So if you maybe wanted to tell us a little bit about the main products offered by Richard Manufacturing.
Sure, we make power distribution systems that for electrical and gas utility companies. So our products help to build the electric grid across the country and help to maintain the electric grid across the country. Um, all of our products are medium voltage, so you're looking at 25, 50 kilovolts worth of electricity. Our two main product lines are a what we call the medium voltage connector business, which is really the what utility companies use to connect all the cables together to the grid at down to the substation level. They won't go. Our products aren't found in the home or at the consumer level. We stop at the electrical substations and above. Our other line of business, our other major line of business is what's called the network protectors, which are in effect they monitor the grid and are letting the utility companies know where there are issues, if there are issues, and in the end can act as a big circuit breaker. So if there is an issue somewhere in the grid, it could cut it off so it doesn't create problems throughout the entire grid. That's pretty much Richard's Manufacturing.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was a perfect example and an explanation into your organization, and you guys are definitely playing a large part in the energy production. And thank you for that. We appreciate you keeping the lights on ultimately by some source, right? I mean, not to put any pressure on the organization at all. It's just what I'm meaning to say is that it sounds like it's a really important role that you guys are playing within the economy in terms of energy.
Yeah, it is. It's a great industry to be in,
Absolutely, I'm sure stressful as well.
because yeah, exactly. But it to a certain degree, it is the electrical. We're at the point where you're dealing with the electrical grid. So if something goes wrong with the electrical grid and it's one of your products, a lot of eyes point to us. So we have to make yeah, so we have to make sure that our products are highest quality, and we're very good at that. And that maintaining the highest quality, and also at delivering when we say we're going to deliver, so that the electrical utilities can do what they need to do. and also at providing support to our customers. I mean, if there is an issue with one of our products, we are there right next to the whoever it is at the electrical company, figuring out what the problem is, what happened with our product so we can make it better next time, and making sure that we're helping to replace it so that we can get that grid back up and running as quick as possible.
Wonderful. So I mean, we've obviously touched bases on, certain common challenges, and we kind of wanted to see if we could get a little bit of an idea into some of the challenges. Maybe let me ask you, what are some of the biggest challenges that's concerning technology inside the manufacturing or energy manufacturing industry that you are currently seeing?
Biggest challenge for us is that I run into right now is getting keeping all the technology running smoothly and at a top performance, and trying to minimize problems. We are A lot of our manufacturing equipment is very reliant on technology, and if the technology doesn't work properly, we can't our machines stop working. And it's also, in order to maintain the quality of the products, we're collecting a lot of data about during the process about what's happening. And so there is that pressure, and just making sure that all the systems are constantly running properly. Um, that IT is not the reason why we're not producing anything. And also that we're able to collect all the data we need so we can guarantee the quality of our products.
Thank you for liberating on that. I really appreciate it. If we can go a little bit deeper in terms of sticking to the challenges, and I'd love to kind of get your advice on, what in your business personally, where would you say your technology falls short of in terms of operations or business workflow, and if you could give us maybe like some opportunity to look into that.
Where the I think for us, or the biggest challenge the is is getting the company to do things the right way, in terms of doing things securely. What is the proper process of doing things? What are things that you shouldn't do to help me keep everything, me and my team keep all the infrastructure and all the technology running smoothly. Uh, and I think that, for the most part, that really is it. It's really more on that side. I mean, there are other things of you always have to think about what the cost is, because any costs have to be passed on to the customer, and we try not to pass that much cost on to our customers. Uh, but also making sure that the technology we're putting in is the right technology. And there is that balance in there, because you can go in and put in technology that is very expensive and is really and you're not implementing a big part of it, and you're not taking full advantage of it. So the way I look at it is, it's okay, what do we need to do, and let's look at what it needs to do. Let's look at what are some of the other capabilities. But I look at, along with the business, I work closely together with the business, is what of these capabilities are we going to be able to implement? Because I don't want to, let's not buy something that gives me a whole list of functions and features and functionality that I will never use, because then I'm just spending money on stuff that I don't need. It's interesting because one thing we were looking at recently in terms of technology, we're looking at putting in a new voice system,
Okay.
and they're talking about, oh well, it can do this, it can do this, it can do that, it can do it has all these features and functionality. I don't need any
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, of course.
We don't have a contact center. We're not like we're dealing with consumers where I have to worry about thousands of people calling up that we're having an issue. I'm dealing with utility companies. It's their engineers are calling our engineers directly. This is what we need. This is what we're seeing. So we're not using a contact center. We don't have a contact center to, im- to implement systems. Going to give me a contact center? Not worth it. So, and that's one case. It's just like, let's not get a lot of, it's working with the business on what's the technology we need and what's the technology that we're really going to be able to implement in in short to long term. And if we're not going to implement it, let's not buy it.
Wonderful. Let's, so we'll move on to that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you answering that question. Yeah, and I mean you're doing great. So you're going into quite a good amount of details. So I'm very happy with that. How are you feeling so far? You feeling comfortable and confident?
Feeling fine.
Now we've spoken about a little bit of, some maybe on the challenges, but of course there's also wins with everything. So if you want to maybe tell us a little bit about what, in your personal opinion, was your biggest win in technology that you've had maybe in the last like 2 to 3 years.
In the past couple, I get it's hard to say. The biggest success in the past couple of years, I mean, it was previous company was just prior to Richards was just really implementing a lot of systems and technology to get the company through COVID. Uh, just that instant overnight shift 180 degrees, and be able to shift the company 180 degrees so we can keep operating on a moment's notice with little to no effect to the business and to our productivity, was one of the big successes. And I think one of my biggest successes uh, at Richards right now has been when I first came in, having to redo and really shore up IT's policies and procedures and their infrastructure and all that. Uh, the company had some challenges on the IT side, and I came in and just was able to clean a lot of them up, get us on a solid footing, and the work continues.
Wonderful. That was actually really touching from our side because you hit home. I mean, a lot of companies took such a massive toll, and it takes a large like amount of energy and understanding and empathy to be able to still have those wins during that tough time for everybody. So
Yeah, it was tough, but we got it. And at the time I was working for a real estate management and development company. So the idea of a lot of the things that we were doing beforehand in person can no longer be done in person. So now how do we show an apartment without ever actually being in the same room with the person that's seeing it? So, and they're not in the apartment. We're not in the apartment. How do you go through the whole lease signing process without actually ever being across the table from the person, which was the way they had, the company was so used to doing things for, since their beginning. And not just us, a lot of all the companies were so used to doing things a certain way. And now all of a sudden, the rules changed. And a lot of companies had to pivot immediately and figure out how do you do this without affecting the company terribly. Uh, and I have a lot of colleagues that I were able to do, were able to do that also for a lot of different industries. And we all think the same. It wasn't easy, but we got the work done, and it was a success for us.
Amazing. Thank you so much again for sharing and enlightening us with that. And yeah, we can all get stronger from what we've gone through. And I mean, ultimately, I think technology has gotten stronger over the last couple of years. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it has gotten stronger. We've made advances, and people start to think of it differently,
absolutely.
and they start to realize how important it really is. I mean, when you realize that, oh my God, how do I take a class if I'm not in the classroom with the teacher?
Exactly.
How do I? Yeah, exactly. And take any profession out there. It's like now all of a sudden, how do I do my job? And all of a sudden people realize technology really is that important. And all the stuff that you have at your office that you don't have at home, we have to get it there so that you can do your job from home and be connected and make it, and as if you were all sitting in the office together.
100%. Absolutely agree with you. And I mean, a lot of people work remotely and things like that now. So it is all about that communication within your teams and stuff as well. So maybe you can tell us a little bit, within that topic and moving into back into you a little bit. I mean, we have a few people that might be wanting to transition like you have, maybe not from education to manufacturing to IT, but in some ways in the same role. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, what in your, mindset is needed to be successful in the role.
I guess what I've always leaned on in my career is it's you're working with a team and you're working with other people, and you have to have the experts in the room that know what they're talking about. Uh, there is no way that one person is going to know everything. And to try to think that you're going to know everything is arrogant, at the very least. But it's having the people in the room that have a stake in the final solution and the final outcome, and that includes the technical people. Who's your infrastructure person that really knows infrastructure really well? Who's the developer that knows it? Getting them to work together well. But it's also who's the business person, the person that is going to benefit from this, making sure that you're communicating with them, understanding from them what it is that they really need. And it's not just asking what do you need, but delving into why they need it. Because on some occasions, I have found that a person that will tell you, I need A, B, and C, and you give them A, B, and C, and they didn't tell you about D, E, and F. Because in some cases, it's when you do something, the same thing for 5, 10, 15 years, there are steps in the process that you forget, because it becomes automatic. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. You don't even think about doing some of those things. Uh, it's those little steps that become very critical when you're putting a system together. Because if you don't, if the system can't handle those steps, it hasn't handled the whole process correctly, and that becomes a problem. So it's working with all the people that are involved, and making sure that everyone understands what their role is, where their knowledge is, and why what they know is so important to the overall outcome of the product.
Wonderful. Again, you show such amazing insights, and the fact that I asked you about, your role in as VP of IT and things. I mean, that's a large thing to be able to say that that's what you do, and you didn't come in with the idea of what is important about you and your role, but you spoke about team and volume, and that's, for me, I think that's amazing, because it is all about the team, and
It,
ultimately.
it is about the team. Uh, I learned early on in my career that you cannot do it all yourself. Uh, Everyone has their particular strengths, and they have their weaknesses too. Uh, and it's just a matter of excuse me, making sure you know everyone's strength, and that you use their strength in the proper place in the process. And then it's making and making sure everyone's just involved and knows what their role is, because you can't do it all by yourself. And if you think you can, it's not going to you're going to burn yourself out tomorrow.
Very quickly, and that is very true. And I love the fact that you're bringing, the team and the element into it as well. So it really shows your true character. So tell me a little bit about, your if we can transition back into the fact that you're talking about team, and is there any, like, what new emerging technologies or systems, if any, are you looking to implement inside the business in the near or current future?
Yeah, right now we're really not focused on new. Our focus right now is we've just implemented a brand new ERP system company wide. Uh, so we're just focused on using it, and getting all the processes down so that everyone's fully using the full capabilities of it, and understanding what's available in the system and how to use it. After that, we'll start taking a look at some other, at what's emerging at that point, and seeing how, because this and seeing what we can implement and what we should implement. We're playing around a little bit with AI in terms of some of the processes, but we're anywhere near implementation of it, and our focus isn't on that new stuff. It's really just finishing up what we've been doing, and getting the full advantage out of it that we can.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Okay, cool. So that's important to know. I mean, and obviously, like you said, technology is growing, and thank you for giving us a bit of the insight. So, where is the vision for Richard's Manufacturing, or in the next 12 months?
The vision is continued growth and being able to service our customers. Is we Our customers are electrical utility companies. Electrical utility companies are growing the grid everywhere around the world because they have to. Um, So it really, our focus is really just on being able to support our customers and service their needs as best that we can. And in a lot of those cases is really growing our manufacturing capabilities. We're, in terms of putting in more manufacturing equipment, but actually also utilizing it better so that the quality stays the same and we have less waste.
Perfect. Again, on that sustainability. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Pascal. So, I think that's all the questions that I had for you today. So, I really hope you enjoyed yourself. Ultimately, I just wanted to say a great thanks. And if you wanted to maybe let our viewers know where they can, do some more research into Richard's Manufacturing. If you want to leave us with an email address, where can they follow you? Yeah, if you want to give us some.
Yeah, if you want to follow me, I can be, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Pasquale Cirullo. And for more information about Richards Manufacturing, just go to richardsmfg.com is our website.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Pascal. It was an absolute pleasure and loved your insights and telling us a little bit about Richard's Manufacturing. Guys, we appreciate his time today. And if you could go and like, subscribe, and follow, we would really appreciate it. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
When, same to you.